Welcome to today's video on designing holiday ornaments. Let's go to tinkercad.com. Now we'll log in using our school Gmail account, and you can join your teacher's classroom using her class code. Once you've logged in, your screen should look like this. Click the Create button and select 3D Design to begin designing your project. To get started, I'm going to drag a solid rectangular prism onto my work plane. Then I'm going to go to the home view and I'm going to adjust the size until the length and width are 1/8 by 1/8 of an inch, like so. Then I'm going to go back to the top view. I'm going to zoom in so it's easier for me to size this, and I'm going to extend the length until it's about 1 inch, like so. Now I'm going to drag this over to the bottom so I have plenty of space to work, and I'll return to the home view so I can see my entire work plane. Now I'm going to drag a roof onto my work plane, and I'm going to click on it, adjust the view so I can see the arrow, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, like so. Next, I'm going to adjust the height, so I'm going to change it until it's 1/8 of an inch. Then I'm going to return to the home view and drag it up a bit so it's on the surface of our work plane, like so. And next I'm going to drag it onto the trunk that we made for our holiday tree ornament. Now, before I align the trunk with the tree component, I'm going to copy paste the triangular prism 3 times, and I'm going to drag them over and stack them slightly to create a holiday tree effect, like so. Once I like the way my triangles are stacked, I'm going to go ahead and group only the triangular components together. Next, I'm going to drag my cursor over both the trunk of the tree as well as the leaves, and I'm going to use the Align tool to vertically align them, like so. If you'd like to drag the trunk of your tree up a bit, you can go ahead and customize that until you like how it looks. I think I'm happy with how this looks, so I'm going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to increase the height of my triangular prisms so that the stump is not visible. Then again, I'm going to drag my cursor over the trunk and the leaves. I'm going to use the Align tool, and I'm going to align them along the center line so that the stump is suspended halfway through the depth of the tree component for the leaves component for my tree. Now I'm going to return to the home view, and I'm going to drag a star onto my work plane to top my holiday tree. So I'm going to start by rotating 20 degrees, or in this case, -20 degrees, to align the base of my star with the base of my work plane. And then I'm going to adjust the size, like so. And then I'll drag it onto my tree until I'm happy with how it looks. Then again, I'm going to drag my cursor over all 3 components, and I'm going to use the Align tool to align at the midway point so that the star is also suspended halfway between the leaves component. And finally, I'm going to change the color of my stump to match the color of a tree. And I'm going to select my component, click the Shift button to preserve the ratio of all my components, and I'll drag until the height is about 3 or a bit over 3 inches. Like you can see here, I've adjusted it to have a height of 3 1/4 of an inch. And now the main base of my holiday tree is complete. To customize it, I'm going to drag some text onto the surface of my tree, and I want to write Happy Holidays 2024. So I'm going to be using 3 separate text components. First, I'm going to write happy, and I'm going to adjust this text until I like how it looks. Then it'll just be easiest if I copy and paste this again and change the text to say Happy Holidays 2024. Finally, I'll copy paste one more time so I can write 2024 underneath. And then I'm going to select all three text components individually. And I'm going to use the align tool so that all the text components are aligned along the center. You can adjust the spacing as per your liking. And then I'm going to again select all three, return to the top view, and adjust the size until it's small enough to fit within the top portion of my tree. Just be careful to make sure you've selected your text as you're adjusting it. I would recommend grouping as you do this. And then finally, I'm going to select all the components of my tree, and I'm going to again align vertically so everything is along the midline. The last step here is to make a hole so we can string a thread through our ornament and hang it on a holiday tree. So I'm going to adjust the size of this hollow cylinder to 1/8 of an inch. Then I'm going to return to the home view, adjust the height to about 1/2 inch. And I'm going to place it on the top of this star. I'll go ahead and one more time align everything vertically so that the hole is also aligned with the rest of the ornament. And then if I just group the star and the hollow cylinder, it'll cut through and create a spot for me to thread a string. And there we go. Our ornament is complete. Now we'll start making our snowman ornament. I'm going to start by going ahead and dragging our holiday tree ornament over to the side so I have plenty of space to work. And then to start making our snowman, I'm going to drag a cylinder, this time a solid cylinder, onto our work plane. Again, I'm going to return to the home view for a better perspective. And I'm going to adjust the height of our cylinder to 1/8 of an inch, and I'll increase the length and width to about 1.5 inches, like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and copy paste this cylinder component. I'll stack it on top of the first component so we can make the 3 layers of our snowman. This will be the second layer. And I'll go ahead and shrink it a little bit down to 1 1/4 of an inch for the length and width. And I'll readjust the height to 1/8 of an inch so it matches the first cylinder. Finally, I'm going to do this one more time. Again, I'm going to adjust the length and width so it's a bit smaller, but then I'll make sure that the height stays 1/8 of an inch, and I'll drag it on top to create all 3 layers of our snowman. Then I'm going to select all 3 components. I'm going to use the align tool to align them vertically, and then I'll group and change the color to white to match snow. Next, to make the arms, I'm going to go ahead and drag a scribble component onto the side of my snowman, which will take us to this screen. Here I'm going to draw a twig-like arm for my snowman, and you can get a little creative here. But I like how this design looks, so I'm going to go ahead and click Done. And then again, I'm going to adjust the height to 1/8 of an inch to match the rest of our snowman. I'll return to the home screen and drag this next to the snowman to match its body to overlap with it. And then I'm going to do Command C, Command V to make a copy. I'll rotate it 180 degrees. Or in this case here, I'm doing 90 degrees. And I'll drag it over to the side of the snowman, like this. So that now my snowman has 2 hands, and I'll go ahead and click both components, change the color to brown to match a stick-like design that we would see for a real snowman. Next, I'm going to drag another scribble component onto the face of my snowman, and I'm going to draw the cool eyes and smile. So I'm just going to make 2 dots for the eyes and a semicircle of dots for the smile, like this. Again, here you can be a bit creative, but I think I'm happy with this design, so I'm going to click Done. I'm going to adjust the height to 1/8 of an inch, and this time I'm going to drag it down by negative 0.05 inches, so it's slightly embedded into my design. I'm going to return to the home view, zoom in a bit, and I'm going to change the color to black and slightly decrease the size like that. All right, next we're going to drag the charcoal eyes and smile slightly downwards, and you can again here be a little bit creative and adjust it to however you would like, because this is the face of your snowman. And finally, I'm going to make a nose as well. So I'm going to drag another scribble component onto my work plane and draw a carrot nose. Now I'm going to go ahead and click done, and here we'll see that the carrot nose is a bit too large for my snowman, so I'm going to go ahead and again adjust the height to 1/8 of an inch and embed it into my design by dragging it 0.05 inches downwards. Then I'm going to click the shift button to preserve the ratios, and I'll use the corner tool to resize the nose. I think I like how this looks, so I'm going to go ahead, drag it in spot. Here I might choose to make it a bit smaller, so might do something like this. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the color as well to be a carrot nose. And next, I'm going to go ahead and make the hat for my snowman. To do that, I'm going to drag a rectangular prism onto my work plane, and I'll adjust the height to, let's move this out of the way, to 1/8 of an inch. Then I'm going to reduce the width to about 1/4 of an inch, and I might actually decide to adjust that to 1/8 of an inch. Then I'm going to go ahead and drag this component to be around 1.5 inches wide, and I'll drag it onto the top of my snowman's head. Next, I'm going to take a semicircle and I'll drag it onto my work plane and rotate it 90 degrees, like this. Then I'm going to drag it up so it aligns with the surface of my work plane, and I'll adjust the height to 1/8 of an inch, matching the rest of our design. And I like the way it's pre-sized, so I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the top of my snowman's cap, like so. Now here I might choose to adjust the rectangular prism's length a bit until I'm happy with how the design looks. And finally, to make sure everything is aligned, I'm going to go ahead and select the cap and align everything vertically. And there you have it. Here I'm going to decide to drag the cap down a little bit so it's more overlapping with my snowman's head. You can get creative here and align everything as per your likings. And then finally, I'm going to go ahead and leave a little text with the year of our ornament creation so I can remember in the future. So like you can see on the screen, I'm adding a 2024 text block, and I'm going to adjust the size so it can fit on the base of my snowman. And then I'm going to drag it onto the surface. I'm going to return to the home view for a better perspective, and I'll adjust the size a bit and drag it down to negative 0.05 so that it's embedded in my design. And finally, my design is complete. If you want a little slot to add a thread to, so you can add this to your holiday tree at home, you can go ahead and readjust a hollow cylinder to be 1/8 by 1/8 inches wide, and I'm going to go ahead, zoom in, and adjust the height like you can see on the screen. And then I'm dragging this onto the cap of my snowman, and I'll select both and group so that now I have a spot to thread a string, and so both my ornaments are now complete. Make sure that if you are making a hole for the tree or your snowman ornament, that it goes through the entire design, so you can go to the top view, and as long as you can see the work plane through the hole, that means that you've cut through all the way. And there you have it, 2 holiday ornaments for you to decorate your trees with. Happy holidays, and I'll catch you in the next one.